The food system is continually evolving in profound ways, which can best be seen and appreciated by taking the long view. So let us begin by visiting three of our ancient ancestors. Homo habilis lived from 2.1 to 1.5 million years ago. First use of tools, and also known as the handyman. Homo erectus, 2 million to 70,000 years ago. Earliest use of fire and cooking, which is very significant. And Neanderthals, 250,000 to 40,000 years ago, the earliest use of clothes. Richard Wrangham, the Harvard primatologist, believes that cooking is particularly important when looking at evolution. He says that cooking made foods much easier to digest, which in turn shrunk the size of the energy-intensive digestive system and delivered more energy to the brain, allowing it to grow larger. And of course, brains are highly energy-intensive themselves, 5% of our weight, but they take about 20% of our energy. So even before agriculture shows up, food can have a profound effect on who we are as humans. And Wrangham points out that humans are highly evolved for eating cooked food and cannot maintain reproductive fitness with raw food. Homo sapiens, modern humans, appeared on the scene between 250,000 and 150,000 years ago. Paleoanthropologists believe that they lived well into their 70s. They had healthy diets in fruits, vegetables, lean protein, and healthy fats. And they had no diet-related chronic illnesses that are common today, like diabetes or obesity, and this included no tooth decay. So, for the vast majority of history, humans acquired their food by hunting wild animals, including prehistoric megafauna like mammoths, woolly rhinos, giant elk, and as pictured here in the slide, the unassuming glyptodon. In contrast, agriculture has been around sporadically for roughly 10,000 years. The practice only became widely established about 5,000 years ago, which is just 3% of the span of human history, quite a small period of time. About 11,000 BCE, hunter-gatherers began a transition towards cultivated crops and animals for food. The shift to agriculture is believed to have originated in several parts of the world, but it's probably best studied in the Fertile Crescent, where we see grains being domesticated, the first animals domesticated around 600 BCE, and by 5000 BCE, agriculture is found in every major continent of the world except Australia. Of course, there are a lot of competing theories about what motivated the transition to agriculture, and these include changes to climate that may have caused shortage of wild food sources, or larger and denser populations may have outstripped the food supply in the wild, or innovations in food harvesting and processing technologies may have made agriculture a more viable lifestyle. So many theories exist, and they could all be true, or they could vary depending on the time or the place. So what have been the impacts of agriculture? We know that the advent of agriculture has powerful effects on human lifestyle, population growth, and civilization. While agriculture provided a more stable and abundant food supply, and farming yields between 10 and 100 times more food calories per acre, it also reduces the variety of foods consumed, relying on several staple grains for the majority of daily calories. The domestication of animals and dense populations also introduced new communicable diseases such as measles, tuberculosis, and smallpox from cattle, and an influenza from pigs and ducks. Nonetheless, agriculture's effect on food production spurred tremendous growth in the global population. By 10,000 BCE, we had a population of 4 million, at 1000 BCE, 50 million, and at 1 year Common Era, 200 million. So what role did agriculture play in the birth of civilization? Because agriculture tied people to their land, much of the resulting population growth occurred around densely populated settlements. By 6500 BCE, towns of several thousand people were common in the Middle East, and by 3000 BCE, Uruk, possibly the world's first city, located in what is today modern Iraq by the Euphrates, was home to between 50,000 and 80,000 people. As cities began to acquire more than enough food to support their population, people became free to pursue interests other than farming, creating a social hierarchy with specialized roles. Political, religious, and military leaders became responsible for protecting and overseeing the distribution of surplus food and other resources. Meanwhile, others devoted their energies to literature, arts, and technology that would drive the growth of civilization itself. Despite these advances, civilization has never been far from calamity of food shortage, which we will discuss in our next lecture. I want to thank the Center for a Livable Future at Johns Hopkins University for providing material for this lecture.